Are these two lights from Wurkkos a buy or a pass? Stick around and I'll let you know. And we're back! Okay, welcome back to 5 Minute Knives, the channel that figured out the secret to growth on TikTok is the occasional troll video. Today, we're going to talk about these little lights from Wurkkos. This is the TD07 and the TD02. You guys know that I love unboxing videos, so we're just going to cut right to the chase. Okay, here's the box. I'm going to talk fast because this is going to be a wham bammer. We have a lanyard with a couple of spare O-rings. We have the instructions and the charging cable. That's what comes with the TD02, which is this light right chomp. Okay, we'll walk around the light. It's got some milling for some heat sink stuff going on. Here's the charging area here for your charging cable. Pretty standard fare. Not bad though, I do prefer this. I don't care about the, water resistance as much. Here's the tail cap. Fairly well done, smartly placed. This design is not altogether original and it seems to work. Quite a lot of milling on this guy, which I could take or leave. The clip is not reversible, although very functional and works just fine. Here's the light itself. Okay, there's a mode. Now, once you've completely depressed the tail cap, you can momentary press for the different modes. There's strobe, there's high, back to turbo, okay? And then if I double press, I guess I get strobe. Okay, so there's that. Here's the deal about this light, no momentary. Put a pin in that. Let's take a look at the TD07. As you guys know, I love unboxing, so again, we're gonna fly through this. It's all basic stuff. Comes with a couple of spare O-rings, instructions, lanyard, charging cable, same thing. But this light's a little more unique in the sense that it's a little stumpier. It's got this kind of ring for this kind of action here. As you can see, you can kind of see my finger kind of accidentally goes over this, so this is kind of the light you're gonna get. Can get fairly hot. Now this one does have momentary, but it's a little tricky. So you see the tail cap here, you have to select the mode. So this mode is momentary, no matter how long you press the tail cap for, that's that. So if I switch the mode to this is a bit of a lockout mode, I guess, and not completely because you'll have a low light, but as soon as you let go of the tail cap, it'll go off. Okay, fine. Here is the main feature, I believe. This is just on. You just give it a click and it's on, and then you can continue to click it for the different modes. Okay, so that's how this one works. I don't know how to... So here's the two lights. I'm going to show you guys the lights I use really quickly, and this is no secret to anybody that's watched the channel in the past. It's pretty cut and dry. Here's the Phoenix PD36R Pro. This was my duty light when I was in the field doing private security. It has a dual tail cap here, which has momentary. See? Momentary. Now if I depress it all the way and use the secondary function, I can actually switch modes fairly easy. And if I don't want to do that, I can just hit the secondary mode for an emergency strobe, which I've never used in the field. Actually, what did come in handy was the turbo. This is all I've ever used, and it has memory, so I would leave it on turbo on my duty belt. So very, very important if I think a guy was hiding in a dumpster or an abandoned building that I was sent to clear out, momentary became quite literally a lifesaver. This light in particular, I did surprise a fella when I came around the corner very quietly. I kind of knew he was back there, and I came around the corner and shined this in his eyes, and he was holding a pipe of some sort. So apparently he was trying to kiss me with that pipe, but he dropped it instantly, and I was able to bark commands, and I got full compliance. This light actually replaced my use of OC spray for the last 6 months I was in the field. It was pretty amazing. Now if we go into my EDC lights, the Wurkkos T1 Pro Little Duke. Again, momentary, high throw, takes multiple fuel sources, rechargeable, but also can take a AA. This light has been bulletproof, reversible clip, should have broken by now multiple times, dropped it several times, finishes holding up well, sent it through the washer twice, it's fine. So this is my preferred EDC for the reasons mentioned. The Streamlight Macro Stream, we're seeing a theme. There's your momentary, two modes, very simple, that's it. Multiple fuel sources, reversible clip, and of course the OG legend, the Streamlight Micro Stream. This is a rechargeable variety. I like the tan one because it starts off in high. This starts off in low, that is high. Momentary, takes multiple fuel sources. We're seeing a theme. Finally, before I give my verdict, we'll go ahead and weigh these out, just so you guys have a clear picture. And they're both about 3.8. This guy is 6 ounces. My preferred EDC, the Little Duke, is 2.2 ounces, another pro. Macro Stream, 2.2, another pro. Micro Stream, 1.2, can't beat that. So for weight, that's another consideration. So here's the point. These may be fine little lights. This one's for about 45 bucks on Amazon. I don't know how I feel about the little finger ring. It's cool in theory, but my pinky goes over the lens, giving me a weird light presentation plus a little heat on my pinky. Also, I feel like the interface is really tricky. I would have to understand the tail cap in the dark. If this became your only light, I believe you would learn it over time with some training and be fine. But I'm not really about that. No momentary on the TD02 is an instant deal breaker for me. I can't do it. Can't do it. I've been in situations where even this sound would have gave me away. I don't want to even make that sound in some situations. The TD07 being, you know, just a little bit funky in its interface while using this tail cap. Again, if this was your only light, I think you would learn it. But the head of this light can get very hot and you got your pinky right there. I just feel like this would be uncomfortable to use. I'm going to say that both of these lights are a pass for me. Now, if they were your only lights, they're the only thing that you have the money for, I think that they would work in a pinch. If you're trying to illuminate a dark space, every light on this table will work just fine. That being said, under duress, I've never screwed up with the PD36R Pro. I've never made a mistake. I've seen other officers in the field screw up with their lights and have the wrong function on when they wanted to go turbo, they had low. I've seen them use strobe when they didn't want to use strobe. I've seen them blind themselves in lightly colored walls in the dark. You know, it's happened. In the dark, I can always finagle this guy, and with the memory feature, it really helps me out. As far as my EDC light, I always know what's going on with the little dude. Not only that, I can put my pinky in front of the lens, it's light enough, and get a really muted light when I need to, okay? So I've just learned to use this one left, right, and sideways. I do have another light that I use, one of those flat jobbers that's in the other room, but the little Duke sort of replaced it. I do like the flat lights for EDC, but I'm generally not out at night anymore. I have an office desk job now. The YouTube channel's, you know, my secondary. And I'm usually in bed early. You guys know I'm up at 4 a.m. to hit the gym, so I'm really big into fitness and all that. So I haven't gotten a lot of use out of my lights in a little while. But that being said, I still remember what it was like to rely on a light night in, night out. And these would be the two I would bring in the field now if I had to do some field work, possibly replacing this with the MicroStream to do my paperwork, okay? I used to use this one to do my paperwork. I'd probably replace it with the little Duke now, because this has a hell of a throw too. And I can kind of ping pong them. If I was charging this one, I would use this one. You know, if I had to ask somebody some questions or investigate something, the little Duke would work just fine. For my EDC packs, you know, my daily packs, my organizers and stuff, I usually throw the macro and micro streams in there. I like the tan version of the MicroStream because it starts off in 250 lumens and then low is secondary. I prefer that, but this is just fine as well. This would work just fine. When I'm comparing the Wurkkos lights that they sent me to like the legends that have like saved my butt in the field, that have been my EDC companion for over a year now, and that have been tried and true for many, many years, for a ton of us out there, like the MicroStream set the industry standard for small, lightweight EDC lights. And if I had to compare the Wurkkos to these guys, it's just not even a comparison. I mean, these aren't that expensive. Like, for the cost of this, you can get this, which is just fine. But if you want a little more power and throw, you can get the little Duke. This isn't really high in lumens, but it's really high in candela. So it throws very far. And for a lightweight little flashlight, this is amazing. And then again, if you want to beast out and you want to blind somebody from across a parking lot, 36R Pro, Phoenix, all day, every day. Can't recommend it enough. It will get warmer on the end here, but I didn't mind that in the field. In the wintertime, it was nice. It would warm up my hands, even through gloves. Not hot enough to burn you, but definitely gets warm. A little Kubotan if you need it. And this fits really well on a duty belt. At 6 ounces, it's still not that heavy. So I love this light. Once I bought this light, all my coworkers bought this light. And in my security company, this is the light I'm going to recommend to all my guys. So I do appreciate Wurkkos for sending these in. They're very brave to do so, and that does show a good transparency with your company. The pricing's not bad. They're sharp to look at. I really like this one in particular, and the OD, this one's a little, you know, it's not my green. You know, I think they're kind of drafting off O-Light with some of their coloration. But you guys wanted an honest review, and my honest review that the Wurkkos TD02 and the TD07, for me, are a pass. Anyway, let's roll in the subscribe star ends. You guys are the heroes of the channel. I really appreciate you. You guys are keeping the channel alive. Remember, you save 15% on all Sheath orders. We're going to be doing more giveaways soon. Flashlight companies, I'm never really enthused to do a flashlight review. Again, I'm in bed at dark, so I don't want to go outside in the dark and do a bunch of crap. I don't want to get into the science of lights. But if you just want my, like, overall take so I can show my audience, feel free to keep sending them. But if it's a pass, it's a pass. And for these Wurkkos lights, for me, it's a pass. Anyway, I appreciate you guys for tuning in as always, and I'll see you next week right here on 5 Minute Knives.